What's up, YouTube? The White Scorpio back with another reaction. This time, we have another creepypasta video, like I promised. And it's none other than the icon, Creepypasta Jr. There are strange sounds outside my apartment, Creepypasta, uploaded November 29th, 2020. Now, he don't need no introduction. Y'all know who he is. He's up there with the legends, man, and the other icons in this creepypasta section of YouTube, man. Like, you can't have creepypastas and not have heard of this man. Like, Creepypasta Jr., bro, I was always up on his videos. Actually, one of his creepypastas is like one of my most viewed videos on my channel. Like I told y'all, true scary stories, creepypastas is what this channel was originally built upon. Those are the videos that I would watch all the time. And then I slowly migrated over to like animated horror stories, scary videos, my bad, and all of that. So, man, it's, again, feel good to get back to the roots. And Creepypasta Jr., none other, man. It had to be him. So, shout out to my other creepypasta guys, though. There's videos I got from them that's coming. Best believe that. Now, y'all already know all the important links will be down in the description. So, without further ado, let's get into it. And this hit home for me because I have an apartment. This is my apartment that I'm in. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but I have my own place. So, it hit home to me. It says this is apartment creepypasta.
As I was locking up my door to head to work, I noticed my neighbor across the way doing the same. It was a middle-aged woman who appeared to be overly exhausted. Heavy bags underneath her eyelids told a story of many sleepless nights. I playfully asked if she had a long night, which alerted her to my presence. I should mention that this woman and I hadn't officially met yet. We both happened to live across one another in this apartment complex. During our time there, we had seen each other a handful of times, something which is bound to happen if you live in apartments. We never shared a conversation longer than a simple greeting to one another. Right. Usually, I'd just give her a disarming nod and she'd return a warm smile. She turned to face me with an expression like she had just seen a ghost. She clearly hadn't been aware of my presence, even though we were fairly close to one another. After a few awkward seconds, she shook her head and apologized, stating she hadn't been getting a lot of sleep lately. I could tell my joke landed flat, so I elected to end the brief conversation by wishing her well, and telling her I hoped she had a better night tonight. She thanked me, and just before I turned to descend the steps nearby, she stopped me. The woman apologized once more and asked if she could ask me a somewhat odd question. I looked about briefly and told her to go ahead. She asked me if I had heard any strange sounds around the apartment complex. I tilted my head back in thought before asking her what type of strange sounds. I could sense she was being nervous with this topic for some reason. She held a momentary pause before whispering, "The clicking." I curled my lips in thought, before shaking my head saying that I hadn't heard any clicking. She gave a defeated sigh before pushing past me down the steps. This was such an odd way to start the day, I thought to myself, as I took a moment to let her increase the distance between us before heading downstairs myself. As I drove to work, I pondered what she meant by clicking. Perhaps there was a rodent problem plaguing the complex, or maybe another neighbor making odd noises throughout the night. It only took a few hours of work for that bizarre encounter to slip to the far reaches of my mind. Days steadily turned into weeks, and I hadn't paid any more mind to my neighbor. That was until I was arriving home early one evening from work, to the sight of movers bringing in box after box into the apartment across from me. That woman's apartment. I saw a young couple standing outside watching the movers grab the boxes and lug them inside. I squeezed past the movers and arrived at my doorstep. I glanced behind me and saw that the entire apartment was vacant, aside from the boxes that they were stacking inside. I thought it was strange that the woman who I had spoken with only a couple weeks ago had suddenly moved out without my knowledge. I've lived in apartments for quite a long time, and you can definitely tell when someone is moving in or out, just by the sound alone.
Right.
Especially if they live adjacent to you.
I'm trying to tell you.
I made my way inside and shut my door. That night was filled with restless sleep. I found myself stirring from my bed multiple times throughout the night. My eyes would randomly, suddenly, snap open to the darkened interior of my apartment. I'd look around frantically for a few seconds, before realizing where I was and what was happening. There would be nothing there, of course, and after a brief pause to get my bearings, I'd drift back off to sleep. The following night, however, is when I finally started to hear it. A strange clicking noise. I was lying in bed watching some late-night TV when this chittering slowly began to overtake the sound from the TV. I muted the volume and listened. The noise seemed to vanish almost entirely. I couldn't seem to pinpoint the source, but I found myself thinking back to the woman in the apartment next to me. I shut off my TV and tried to put the strange occurrence out of my mind. I rolled over in my bed and felt my consciousness drift away. It felt like mere seconds before I was jolted back awake, but I could tell it was already the middle of the night. I sat up, rubbing away the sleep from my eyes. I looked around and found nothing out of place. Then, after a few seconds, I started to hear that clicking noise again. It sounded organic, like an animal was creating the sound.
I don't like that shit.
I thought my previous assumption of a rodent problem was the correct one.
What?
I was about to force myself to go back to sleep when I heard the noise begin to move. That's when I noticed that the noise was coming from outside my apartment.
See? That's
my
the
bedroom
shit.
window was near my bed and it had a sprawling outlook on the apartment's courtyard.
That's the shit I'm talking about.
I dragged my body out of bed and slumped over to the window. My curiosity was begging to be sated. I peeled back one of the curtains and looked out into the darkened courtyard. It took only a few moments for my eyes to adjust to the surroundings. I spotted the few dark trees that dotted the courtyard first. As my vision became clearer, I scanned around looking for any sign of an animal making that clicking noise. I couldn't make out anything moving around near my window. Then I froze. I spotted something very unsettling outside. It was plain as day, and I was surprised I hadn't spotted it immediately. There was a person standing in the field, like a statue. Actually, it looked exactly like a statue. It wasn't wearing any type of clothing, just had this pale gray skin that seemed to almost shimmer in the moonlight. But I knew for a fact that there were no statues in the courtyard. I had lived here for over 1.5 years, and I walk by that area every morning and night. There have never been any statues in the courtyard. I waited to see if this was where the sound was coming from. A moment passed, and I blinked my eyes. When I opened them, that statue-like person was gone. I could no longer hear the clicking sound, and I chalked this whole bout of insanity to my ever-growing fatigue. I crawled back into bed after double-checking to make sure my window was tightly fastened. 2 nights passed without further incident. Periodically, I thought I had heard that dreadful clicking noise, but ended up convinced that it was just my imagination. Then, last night, that sound returned, and with it came a lifetime of nightmares. I'd gotten off from work rather late in the evening. I pulled into the complex's parking lot and slung my bag loosely as I walked towards my apartment. When I did, I made sure to keep an eye on the courtyard as I passed by it, a habit which I had gotten into the previous 2 days. I ascended the steps and entered my door. After making a small TV dinner, I slouched on my couch in the living room. I turned on my TV and blinked my eyes a few times. When I opened them again, my TV was a dull blue screen, and I realized that I had fallen asleep. I turned off the TV, and that's when I felt my blood run cold. I could hear that clicking sound.
I hate that
Far
noise.
louder this time than any time previously. I quickly realized why it was far louder. The noise was coming from down my hallway to my bedroom.
All right. I had to pause it. Y'all know I don't usually pause videos, but I had to pause it, bro, because this shit. I thought this monster was just gonna stay outside of his apartment, as the title of the video suggests. This thing then gotten in his apartment. What the fuck? I feel like where this video is going, it's gonna go from down his hallway and like towards the end of the video, it's going to like shift and he's gonna be in his bed and he's gonna hear the clicking noises louder than ever. And this motherfucker, this creature, whatever it is gonna be literally right at the bottom of his bed. Or at least at his doorway or some shit. That's because I've heard stories similar to this, where they would hear strange noises or see strange things, and every night or every couple of nights or whatever, this thing or person, whatever, would get closer and closer and closer. So, and I'm pretty sure y'all who love the horror genre, y'all have heard of, you know, stories kind of similar to that too. I had to pause the video. Like I said before, y'all know I rarely ever pause videos, bro. I rarely ever, because I like to just go through it. And because I like to be scared, bro. I like to be creeped out. So if I pause it, it gives me this moment to like calm down, so that when scary shit does start happening, it doesn't get me as bad because the tension has already gone down. So, but with this case, I had to, bro. Because again, it hit home because I have an apartment. And I also have a piece of steel in there. And I wish a motherfucker would while I was here. A person, I don't know about a monster. Well, shit, they could both get it. We finna get back into this, bro. But I don't, first of all, I don't like the noise that this creature's making. I don't like the noise at all. And then it's in his house and it's dark. And there's still almost 4 minutes of this video left, bro. Like, okay. I'm gonna back it up. We gonna get back into it.
I quickly realized why it was far louder. The noise was coming from down my hallway to my bedroom. I quietly peeled myself from my couch and stood at the entrance to my hallway. I could see my darkened bedroom door slightly ajar at the end of the hall. I began to think I was having some extremely vivid nightmare. Then, my bedroom door started to creak open. Standing in the doorframe was that same figure I had spotted in the courtyard. Its gray, shimmering skin, its narrow, slender build. It held its arms to its side, almost like it was standing at attention. Its legs remained rigid as well. Its head, however, was tilted all the way back. I could only see its neck and the bottom of its chin. It croaked out that incessant clicking as it stood only a few feet away.
Get the strap.
In a flash, this thing drifted towards me, stopping abruptly in front of me. It felt like a train was about to hit me, and if I wasn't so petrified, I probably would have flinched backwards. It peeled its arms away from its side, almost like it was gesturing for a hug.
What?
Then its neck began to pop and snap, nearly replacing that guttural clicking sound. Its head snapped down to face me, and I felt the color in my face drain away. It had a completely smooth, bald head. Black veins stretched up from its mouth to cover the top of its head. I couldn't see any eyes on its face, but I got the unwavering sense that it was staring directly at me. Then its mouth began to ooze this thick black liquid that dripped down onto its nearly flawless gray skin.
This is disgusting.
The clicking grew to a crescendo, and I collapsed to my knees, holding my ears in pain. After a few minutes, I opened my eyes and saw the light from the sun shining through my living room window. My alarm went off a few minutes later, letting me know I needed to get ready for work. I mindlessly grabbed my things, wanting nothing more than to get out of my apartment. As I was locking up my front door, I heard a small voice behind me, asking me if I had a rough night. I snapped around wide-eyed to see a young woman standing behind me across the way. She had a concerned yet caring look on her face. I just replied, something like that. She gave me a half smile and a nod before walking down the steps. Just before she could move out of earshot, I called out to her and asked her if she had heard any strange sounds in her apartment. She shook her head and asked what kind of sounds. Just then, the deja vu finally set in, and I realized that this was exactly like before.
Right.
I told her to forget about it. Instead of going to work today, I spent the majority of the day looking for new apartments on the other side of the city. I don't know what that thing is, or where it came from, but I don't plan on sticking around this place to find out.
Hell no.
If any of you out there live in apartments and hear strange clicking coming from outside,
nah,
it's probably best to get out of town for a few days, or start looking for a new place to live.
That's when you get the strap. No, bro. See, and that's what made me fall in love with Creepypasta Jr.'s videos when I first started YouTube, because he adds sound effects, like the clicking, the neck twisting and shit. Like, the sound effects help a lot when it comes to horror stories. When I first started YouTube, literally Creepypasta Jr. was the only creepypasta content creator that I listened to. And for good reason. The dude's dope as fuck. He's an icon. Honestly, bro, when you compare the views he gets on his videos to the views that, like, Mr. Creepypasta, Mr. Creeps, and Creeps McPasta be getting, bro, he don't get the recognition he deserves. He's so slept on. And it should be illegal how slept on this dude is. This dude, I'm telling y'all, he put so much work into his content, and it throws me off how, like, low-key he is. And it's like, like I said, he just don't get the credit he deserves. Like, he's honestly, if he's not the best creepypasta content creator on YouTube, bro, he has to be in, like, the top 3, like, or the top 5. Because, like I said, I got 5 of favorites. But it's like, man, I'm telling you, I don't make horror content. I just listen to it, watch it, react to it, all that, give my opinions and shit like that. But I'm telling you, adding sound effects and the ambiances to these creepypastas, scary stories, it can literally change everything. From just the narrator telling the story, no matter what's going on, against a narrator telling the story, and implementing, like, the right type of sound effects to correlate with what's going on in the story, it makes it so much worse in a good way. Like, it can make a creepy story scary just by adding the right sound effects. I'm telling y'all, bro. Like, that clicking noise, I fucking hated it. And I low-key was getting goosebumps because that noise is just, I don't know, it did something to me. Maybe I know what I'm talking about. Certain noises, bro, it just, especially, you know, creepy shit like that. But like I said, man, Creepypasta Jr., he had to be, like, the second guy to reintroduce me into the creepypastas. The only reason he wasn't the first is because Mr. Creeps' video kind of jumped out at me first, and because it was in my recommendeds, and Creepypasta Junior's, I had to go to his channel to find this one. But it's like, still, like, yeah, icon, bro. So big shouts out to Creepypasta Jr., man. You dope as hell. You don't get the recognition and the credit that you deserve. You're severely underrated, bro. Like, I'm telling you, like, I ain't fronting, man. It's just, I don't know. It's like the underdogs, man. It's like you can be better than other people, but still you don't get the shine you deserve. So I'm giving you your shine, bro. You're dope as fuck. You're a creepypasta icon, man. You're up there in the top 3s or the top 5s with me easily. And any of the people, you know, my crew that been rocking with me for a while, they know, like, good creepypasta content when they hear it. And my folks, man, they know you. Like, they know you get down, man. I'm trying to tell you. But hey, man, I loved the video. This is literally the first time I've paused the video, honestly, I think in over a year or almost a year. Like, I don't pause videos like that, but again, the noises, the setting, what was going on, like, it was creeping me the fuck out, so I paused it to give my opinion, which I could have waited until now to do. But bro, I'm telling y'all, like, that shit blew me. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I hope y'all drop a like, a comment, share the video, join the crew, because we always recruiting. Make sure the bell icon is tapped so you will get notified every time I drop new content. And that's all I got for y'all this time around. So be safe, be blessed, be smooth. I'm out.